Hey guys, Sam from Manfa's Makes and
Loose Mike.
So welcome back to all our returners and hi to any newbies. Please do stick around a while, and if you like what you see, give us a thumb. Thank you very much. Okay, so we put out a video asking you guys what would you like to know about us. So this is the answer section to that video. So
Oh dear, I've not even read these questions yet.
no. So this is going to be a bit of a for Mike when he answers, if they are specifically for him, or even if it's a joint question. So this could be a long video. I would recommend that you pause here, grab a drink, snuggle up with a project, and beaver away while we're just chatting nonsense. So a lot of you lovelies did put questions down in the comment section. Thank you very much for those of you that took part. And I would just like to say a special mention to Aussie Sandy. She is so super sweet. She actually put in her comment that she would never dream of asking us anything personal, as it is none of her business and not her place to do so, and that she knows that if we need her help, and she can, we are just to reach out. So Aussie Sandy, thank you so much. That was so sweet of you to say, but we honestly don't mind. If we feel uncomfortable, we're just not going to answer it, so don't ever worry about that. So the first question, and this is the question that makes me feel slightly uncomfortable, but not enough not to answer it, and I'm sure the people watching know exactly who asked me this, or the person who asked me knows anyway, and it is our beautiful and Alaskan crafter Jan, Lady Jan. Mwah, mwah. I have recently adopted Lady Jan as my YouTube mum, so I am just going to answer this as if I'm speaking to my real life mum. And if you guys get uncomfortable about conversations that are a little bit personal, maybe skip this first one and go to the rest, because the rest are pretty PC. Anyway, so Lady Jan asked, oh, and by the way, if any of the people that asked questions have content on their channel, I will link them in the description box, because any chance for you guys to go and check out my friends, I am going to ask you to do that, please, because spreading the yarny love is a massive thing that we like to do here at Manfa's Mates. So if you don't know them, go check them out and throw some yarn in their window, which means subscribe. Okay, so Lady Jan says, how did you two meet? We answered this in a live a couple of weeks ago. I don't want you guys to get the wrong impression, so this is probably going to be way over justified than it needs to be, but Manfa does do that when she's a little bit uncomfortable. Mike's probably just going to giggle the whole way through. So in as brief a nutshell as I can make it, and it's not that brief, Mike and I met on a works do. We did not work in the same company. We were working for two separate companies who just happened to be having their works Christmas do's in the same hotel. It was a lovely hotel further down in Cornwall than where we live. And it was a 3-course Christmas dinner and a night at the hotel and breakfast the next day for a really reasonable, awesome price. I don't know how much you paid, but my price was reasonable. Anyway, bit of a backstory. The boy's dad left me in August 2017. I met Mike in December 2017, which is not an awful lot of time, and I wasn't looking for anyone. That was not my purpose of going on this works do. And actually, both of us, after speaking a bit more in depth, both on the night and afterwards, both said that we were not even going to go for different reasons. I was not going to go because I was still in a very bad place from the boy's dad leaving me. I didn't feel confident, didn't feel like I even had the energy to go and get dressed up and dance and, you know, just people. I was just not in a very good place, so I was going to cancel. But at the last minute, I changed my mind and I went anyway. You weren't even supposed to be going on the works Christmas do, but somebody dropped out and Mike took their place. So Mike was never supposed to be there. So we were both there separately, doing separate things with our separate work gangs at the time, and neither of us work at those companies anymore. We have since moved on to other jobs. We ended up bumping into each other, and my work gang were playing a game of dares, essentially. We were drinking alcoholic beverages and getting a little bit silly, and the dares were getting more and more eventful, shall we say, and a little bit more risque. And we were outside in the smoking shelter, and one of my work colleagues literally opened the door to the venue and shouted, "Who wants to buy my mate a drink?"
Well, here I come.
Mike's like, "I will." They were basically trying to put a smile on my face and make me know that there were still going to be people in the world that are interested in me. They weren't trying to pressure me, but obviously with alcohol involved, it just got a little bit silly. Anyway, Mike came up to me and said, "What would you like to drink?" And I stupidly said, "Anything. I don't mind." Because I was really like, "Oh my God, this is a strange man talking to me and I'm really nervous." So he went, "All right then." Went to the bar. And he came back with whiskey on ice. Now that should have been my cue to run for the hills, because Manfa does not like whiskey. So then he bought me a drink. We got chatting. He went his way, I went mine. And then the same friend opened the door to the venue room. Was it this? Did that? Is that? No,
I was already outside.
Okay, he was already outside. And I think someone very loudly suggested, "Give her a kiss," or "I dare you two to kiss." So, yes, we had a kiss. Very awkward and embarrassing and right on the spot. I thought that would be the end of it. Then he went his way, I went mine. Bit later on, a few more alcoholic beverages went down my neck. And I found him sat with a bunch of his work colleagues, and after we had had a conversation, I realised that Mike already knew my mum. He used to work for her many moons ago, so he knew my mum before he knew me. Small world, right? And I, on a slip of paper, gave him my mobile number with the note, "Don't tell my mum." And then he went out into the Cornish town of Newquay to go clubbing, and I just stayed with my work friends at the hotel. Anyway, fast forward a few hours, there was a little bit of an incident which Mike had to sort out for me. He was very valiant, very knight in shining armour, sorted it out for me, and then
got punched in the face a few times.
because one of his work colleagues was giving me unwanted attention and wasn't taking no for an answer. Let's just leave it at that.
He was a bit levied.
He was very intoxicated and wasn't understanding that no means no, and he took it way too far. So Mike jumped in, sorted it out, and took a few clumps for the privilege of doing that. And then, because I was drunk, he was my knight in shining armour. You can guess the rest. We both had rooms in the hotel. Now, Mike was only... This is where I sound like a real hussy. Mike was only supposed to be a one-night stand. Like I said, I wasn't looking for a relationship. I was still dealing with the breakup from the boy's dad. Mike, I think, was kind of on the pull, but not like that was his main intention. Just if it happened, great. If not, oh well. And he had been single for quite a while before going out on this night out. Anyway, we ended up hooking up. Supposed to be a one-night stand, but then a week or so later, he was fervently trying to get hold of me. Managed to get hold of me. We met up a week later. Decided that we quite liked each other. We wanted to get to know each other a little bit better, and the rest is history. I'm not going to go through our whole relationship because you'll be sat here for half an hour, and you don't need to do it. Probably longer, actually. And we don't need to do that. But yes, I have never, ever, ever, ever had a one-night stand in my life. He was supposed to be my first, but he's still hanging around 5 years later, guys.
I'm still here.
So I still have never had a one-night stand. So there you go, Lady Jan. You made me tell the story again. That is how we met. Randomly on a works Christmas do that neither of us were planning to go to. But we did. We met. The rest is history. So thanks for your question, Jan. Love you. Aussie Sandy asked, what would be your favourite yarn that you have used so far? And I'm going to let you answer this one first.
Horizon.
Okay, by Hobie.
By Hobie. It doesn't split. It's pretty soft and easy to work with. The butterfly.
No, it's all
not
moved.
there anymore. The butterfly that I'm using at the moment on my shawl. It is extremely soft and silky, but it has a tendency of splitting
And slipping off your hook
and
sometimes.
slipping off the hook. Yeah.
But Mike is loving the Hobie yarn, guys. Just, you know.
Yeah.
Hobie is beating anything else that he has used so far. And I have yet to either try the Horizon or the Butterfly, so I can't comment on those. Now me. I can never just go, bang, that's it, can I? I can't just have one. I have to have a million. My favourite workhorse yarn, the one that I am always going to pick for stitch definition, easy to obtain, really inexpensive, but is good quality, does the job, is obviously Stylecraft. That will always be my number one because it is what I started out on. It is one that I still purchase to this day and I still reach for. So that is my favourite workhorse yarn. Now the more higher end yarns that I've used, which aren't even much more higher end really when you consider hand dyed, hand painted hanks that are worth like 20 quid plus a skein, I would probably have to say, I don't even know what yarns I've used, to be fair. Can you think of any yarns that I've used and been like...
Have you used any of the ice yarns? You have, I know you have.
But nothing that's really standing out. Can you remember any yarn that I've got? I need to work with this again, I love it. The Spotty, Smarty, is it James C. Brett Snuggly?
Yeah.
That's not high end. It's
the
the little...
This rabbit's made out of.
Yes, it is not high end, but it is not the most inexpensive. It's just a little bit up from the most inexpensive, but I absolutely loved it.
The high end yarns that you've used have been really thin weight.
Yeah, and I can't say that I'm like, I really need to use them all the time. I have used a bit of, where's my finger going? Above Mike's head, this end cubicle, some of the I Love This yarn. I am very partial to Hobby Lobby. For a Aran or worsted. So for me, I always categorise it in yarn weight, yarn type, yarn fibre. So I could probably give you a favourite in all the weights, all the fibres, all the brands. We're not going to do that. We'll be here all day. So I am just going to stick with my workhorse original, what I learned with and what I still use to this day is Stylecraft. Okay, so Newfie Grandma Creates, who is Sadie, asks, have you ever travelled outside of the UK, and if yes, where did you travel to?
I have only ever travelled outside of the UK once. I was probably about 5, but we went to Mallorca.
Cool.
I don't really remember it, but I do remember going.
And you've been told.
I remember the plane. I remember getting on the plane and my ears popping. I remember falling into a swimming pool. Not being able to
Sounds like
swim.
quite a traumatic trip.
I remember being absolutely sunburned.
Very traumatic trip.
But that's it.
Okay. So again, Manfa's going to take a lot longer to answer. I am going to list off the places I can remember. Now, there may be other places that don't immediately spring to mind because when you are put on the spot and you are on camera, you don't always remember everything until after you switch the camera off. So there may be other locations that have slipped my mind. But the ones that stand out for me are you ready? Tenerife, Mallorca, Gran Canaria, Cyprus, Tunisia, Turkey, Sweden, Canada, there are others. I know there are others, but that's at least 8.
Alicante.
That's Spain. Yeah, I've been to various parts of Spain, so Alicante, Benidorm. They are the one. I'm going to leave it there. I've given you 10 locations, most of which were family holidays for me growing up. Tenerife was a girls only holiday, my first girls only holiday that my parents paid for me and a friend to go for my 18th birthday, because here in the UK, when you're 18, that is when you are officially an adult. You can drink, you can do all the grown-up things. So I went to Tenerife for a week with a friend, and another of my friends paid for her own ticket and she joined us as well. So there was the three of us. It was a bit of a disastrous holiday. It's a story for another time. But yeah, I went there on my 18th. The others are mainly family holidays growing up. We have never been abroad while we've been a couple. And some of them have been as an adult with my children. So my children have been to Alicante, they've been to Mallorca, they have been to did they go Benidorm? No, they didn't go Benidorm. So Alicante, Mallorca, I think those are the only two that the children have been on, and again, that's courtesy of my parents. The only holidays we have managed to do for the children are camping in Wales, you know, things like that. And we have had holidays within the UK as well as a family, but not a lot actually, because holidays are really expensive and there are 6 of us, so you can imagine how pricey that is. But yes, I have travelled outside of the UK. Yes, there were lots of locations, and there are probably locations that I have missed. Just briefly, we went to Canada when I was a child to visit my godmother, and we spent Christmas there. Amazing. Saw the Niagara Falls. Beautiful. Went up the CN Tower. And Sweden was actually work experience when I was doing my A-levels at school, and I worked in a Swedish nursery for children for 3 weeks. That was absolutely amazing. We flew without any teachers, stayed with host families. Teachers came out halfway through just to check that we were all fine, alive, and we weren't put with families that killed us. And then they went home, and then when it was finished, we travelled back on our own. So that was another independent travel that I did. And also when I was 11, I went to Disneyland Paris. So there's another location that's just popped into my head. So yeah, I've travelled. I still haven't travelled to all the places I want to go to, and there's a lot on my travel bucket list that I want to tick off, and hopefully one day I'll get there. But yes, we have both travelled outside of the UK. Now this is specifically to Mike, so I'm going to ask it and then finish some of my tea. Jeannie V asked, Mike, what made you want to crochet?
I don't think there was any specific reason. Just spur of the moment, wanted to see what the fuss was about with Manfa's makes here.
What did you say to the children the other night? I can't remember which boy it was.
Oh, Connor. So I pushed myself to do crochet so that we both have something in common.
We had a joint interest and hobby to spend time together doing, rather than doing our hobbies separately and not having any kind of common ground to relax, etc.
Because otherwise, we really don't do the same things.
Golf and gaming.
Golf,
blah,
gaming.
Blah, blah.
Anything to do with being outside in the woods or whatever. Love it.
We don't have a lot of similar interests, to be fair, guys.
No.
So Mike made a special effort, not only to see what the fuss was about, like he said, but also so that we had a shared interest and we could actually spend some quality time together of an evening, because otherwise he'd either be gaming while I was crocheting, and we probably wouldn't even do that in the same room because his games drive me round the bend, especially plinky plonk music and repetitive sound effects. Like if it's a driving game or whatever, which isn't really his bag, but I was just trying to think of an example. Repetitive music, and also the plinky plonk music sends me to sleep, so that would mean that I'm crocheting going and I'm not getting anything done, and I would just get annoyed. So And I would want to watch either my YouTube channels or something that I was interested in, not watch him play some silly, childish game. Sorry to those that game. I know there are a lot of you out there. No offence intended. Just not my bag. Although, there are a couple of games that you used to play that I used to try and make the effort to do something that he enjoyed back in the day at the beginning.
Which you quite liked.
Which I quite liked. But for me now, because our time is so limited, now that we have joined both families together and we are all one unit, we don't have the luxury time that we had at the beginning when we were separate households to really invest in what we enjoy. So now you're not going to catch me playing a game when I can be crocheting. Sorry, not going to happen. But I did at the beginning. I tried, just like Mike's trying now with the crochet. So we kind of did it for each other in different ways.
Yeah, which also in turn we got some beautiful friends.
Definitely.
To talk to.
Definitely.
Through the crochet world.
Yeah, because who you watch in the gaming world are not going to be interested in us whatsoever.
No, let's see,
But, yeah. So, anyway, Coco's Crochet, which is the beautiful Litza, has asked us 3 questions, 2 of which are for both of us and 1 of which is for Mike individually. So the first one to us both is, what yarn have you used and will never use again, and why?
I don't have any, but I would never use again.
No, Mike's yarn usage is quite limited at the moment. Me, I only tried once to use fur yarn. And I didn't even really give it like my best shot. I very quickly went, no, I don't have the time or the patience for this. Whereas if I had persevered, I reckon that I could have actually done what I intended to do, but I was not in the right frame of mind. Novelty yarns both scare me and are not appealing to me. So your furs, your eyelashes, your the ones where you pull apart and they've got like mesh and stuff in them, no, not interested. They have their purpose, and for those that love them, great. I am just not a novelty yarn girl, I don't think. I do have some fur yarn right at the top that you can't see, and I do intend on using it, but I need to really get in the right frame of mind to attempt using that again. So for the minute, fur yarn for me. So this is for Mike individually. What is your favourite colour?
So in a nutshell, purple. But
and the person who asked that question, their favourite colour is purple too.
Oh, there you go.
So you have something in common.
Well, that's just the nutshell answer. I love blues. So purple being my favourite, but if I was to put it onto a clothing item, I wouldn't necessarily wear purple.
He wears a lot of blue.
I wear a lot of blue. I like this sort of thing, variegated clothing, but
variegated clothing.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my goodness, has Mike just coined a new fashion phrase? The crochet is creeping into every aspect of your life now, Mike.
I like red on clothing.
Yeah. Baby pink.
Greys. I actually wear pink, yeah. But I wouldn't wear purple.
No,
I don't know why.
I don't think I've ever seen you in purple.
I don't know why, but as a colour for yarns and for other people,
notions, accessories,
even like pens and accessories and stuff like that would be purple.
Yeah.
I'm a weird man.
So there you go, Litza. You share the same colour, sort of. And then to the both of us, what project would you like to crochet, but the thought of it intimidates you?
Nothing intimidates me. On
that
crochet.
Is such a Bobby Big Bollocks thing to say.
Nothing intimidates me.
Oh my goodness.
But if I looked at something that I didn't want to do, I wouldn't do it.
So that's intimidating you.
No,
it's making you shy away.
I'm not intimidated by it though. I just don't want to do it.
Because it looks too difficult and you're shying away.
No, because I would do, if there's something I want to do that's difficult, I'll do it.
relying heavily on me. So you need to hope that I know how to do it. For me, I will always try and give something a go. Now, I have tried that. I do amigurumi. I have done mosaic. For me, I haven't actually done a wearable that I am actually going to wear, especially out in public. I've never done a wearable for myself, like a top or a sweater or, that kind of thing. So, I have...
your ugly Christmas vest.
Yeah, but...
Which you wore in public.
Yeah, but what... No, but I mean, like, a summer t-shirt, for example, that I'm going to wear, like, a lot. That was a novelty item just to support a YouTube friend and give other people a giggle.
Which it did.
Which it did. But no, something that I actually have to like do proper like bust measurements and like arm measurements and neck measurements and like the whole 9 yards. That is a little intimidating to me, but I am going to do it because I have got yarn on my shelves, guys, that I have specifically bought for wearables. I just haven't got around to doing them yet. Another thing that intimidates me is I don't know whether you saw one of my booklets a few weeks back where I bought a Fair Isle book and the mochila bags. I know I'm still saying that wrong, but it's just how it comes out. They are slightly intimidating, but I do, because I've bought the book, I do at some point plan to sit down and figure out how it is that you are supposed to do them. So they are a little intimidating, but not enough for me not to try. It's just I need to make sure I have a nice window of time and the right headspace to tackle it, if that makes sense. So there we go. And then ASA asked, and I'm not going to be able to answer it, but I am going to tell you what she asked. She asked, how many balls of wool are in your stash and what are your plans for it? Now, ASA, more than I can count. Well, I could count them. More than I want to count. I ain't going to count them. I do have spreadsheets of inventories. So I have a spreadsheet for all my Hobie, all my Stenley, all my Hobby Lobby, all my Stylecraft. And I have listed, the colour, the weight, the yardage, and how many of each I've got. However, that fluctuates because I don't regularly go into those inventories and update them. I try to as much as possible, but I don't have the time to do that like on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. So even if I was to get my inventories up, which I did consider doing, and totaling up all the balls that are on record at the moment, I knew it still wouldn't be accurate. I am hesitating a guess that we have over 1,000 balls of yarn in our stash, both on our shelf and in the totes that you can see here as well. There is also a tote out in the hallway that you cannot see, and there is also a bin full of balls of yarn that Mike's daughter has for her own personal use. There is a lot of yarn in this house, and I am not going to count them. I am so sorry. Maybe one day, but we didn't before this question and answer session. And what are your plans for it? Well, plans for it are that it will grow up and be something someday. There are stashes that we have got where we have specifically bought a quantity for a project. Like myself, I have 3 wearables stashed away, or the quantity I need stashed away. A lot of the cakes that you can see will probably be hugs or blankets or garments of some kind. Mike is on a real hug mission this year. So some of it has plans, some of it doesn't, because what you have also got to bear in mind is we have been so blessed by all of you lovelies that have sent us Happy Mail. Mm-hmm. Most of the yarn that you see was gifted, therefore we didn't really hand pick it, therefore we didn't really have a plan for it. It was just lovingly gifted to us, and we have to get inspiration or an idea for what it will be eventually. So not all of it has a plan yet. And I hope that answers your question. And I'm sorry I didn't count them all, but there is well over 1,000. Rest assured, there is a lot of yarn in this house. Okay, one more whip asked, what is your favourite item to crochet We'll do that first because she split it into 2 halves. So we'll answer that bit first. So what is your favourite item to crochet? Most of Mike's has been hugs.
To be fair, it's really difficult for me because all I've done is blankets and a hug.
Yeah.
That's it. I've done
You've
a
two.
wrap.
Well, yeah, but that's still a hug.
Yeah, for my nan. I've done 2 blankets.
Mhm.
And I'm now doing another hug.
So out of the 2, blanket or hug, which would you prefer?
The blanket is... I can't really answer that because the blanket's easier and more just crochet with ease and watch whatever you want to watch, whereas the hugs were intense. But
created a beautiful
but yeah,
item.
but much better, and they were more beautiful, and they've got a purpose.
Yeah.
I am planning on doing an amigurumi at some point, so maybe...
Well, Lynette wants you to do it for next month for her #amigurumi month, so...
Well, that's coming around very quick.
It is.
I may have 2 whips on the go soon then. Because I'm not getting very far with this hug.
Okay, so my favourite item to crochet. This is probably going to be a very wishy-washy answer, but it is the genuine truth. Whatever the person has asked for, or whatever I want to gift them. So depending on the person, will depend on the item being made, but they just mean more, because I am stitching it with love and with thoughts of them and tailoring it to their preferences, their size, their favourite colour, favourite animal, whatever the case may be. So for me, my favourite items to crochet are the gifts that I'm going to be giving other people. But if I had to narrow it down into an actual object, I like doing my amigurumi because I like seeing all these dismembered body parts being put together and become an actual creature with a personality. So if I had to say, it would be amigurumi, but say I don't have any whips on the go, which is never the case, but if I didn't have any whips on the go, amigurumi wouldn't necessarily be the first thing that I go, I'm going to make an amigurumi. I love making them, but it's not my first choice. I just love making things for other people. It's as simple as that. And it could be anything from a washcloth to a sweater if they really wanted one. It just depends. And the second part of her question was, what item have you made once but have no interest in ever making again?
Again?
Mike never wants to do the bead stitch again.
No. But No, I'm not even going to say it because that would be wrong.
You might say what I'm about to say if we're on the same wavelength.
Every tile that we've just made.
That is my answer to the question. What item have you made once but have no interest in ever making again? The tiles, people! Yeah. The tiles! And I knew that's what you were thinking. And bless his heart, he didn't want to say it because he didn't want to upset anyone. We don't want to upset anyone, especially the beautiful person that gave us the book in the first place. It was me. This is all on me. Because yes, I wanted the book and yes, I was gifted it. But I didn't have to make a pledge to make every single one, did I? But I did, and we are. And yes, we're learning new things, and it's helping Mike with his armoury of new stitches and new techniques. So it is useful to Mike. It's a useful
thing, but I'm never going to do it again.
It's useful to Mike in that respect, but it is the one element of crochet every week that we are like, oh. But it is our most popular segment here at Manfa's Makes. You guys absolutely love it. We have also got some wonderful supporting friends that have jumped on board and is doing it alongside us. So we are not going to give in. We are going to do all 100. But are we ever going to make any of them again? No, probably not. So there you go.
We might make our own version of one of them again and use it on another project, but...
Even that, I don't think so.
No.
So there you go, one more whip. I don't know if that was what you were expecting to hear, but that is both of our answers, and it's just really making me laugh that we had the same answer.
I've only crocheted a blanket a wrap and these tiles. So
Yeah.
the tiles for me are the worst thing compared to the rest of it.
Yeah. Okay, so Judy Hock asked, where did Moose come from in Moose Mike?
Backstory. So originally people couldn't say Manfa, or they were getting confused and calling Mafia.
I was Mafia Mates.
Mafia Mates.
For quite a number of months.
But then that changed, and
well, no,
Manfa
then
was the thing, but they wanted to keep the Mafia, and they gave that to me as Mafia Mike.
When he jumped on board learning to crochet and
Yeah.
starting to do videos with me.
Yes. So that stuck for a while.
Mafia Mike.
It really stuck for a while.
You've also been known around the YouTube
As
streets.
Mike, yeah. Which, to be fair, I'm not that keen on that one. But Mafia Mike stuck for a while.
Yeah.
But then one of our beautiful friends, Mad Mimi's Crochet and Farming Animals.
No, there's no animals. People are getting her name wrong and she's now just going with it. There is no animals. It's just funny.
Lala.
Yes.
Found out her favourite animal is a moose.
And Mike really likes moose
And I really
too.
like moose. They're not my favourite, but I really like moose. And
He
I
really
really
wants,
want to see
yeah,
one.
he really wants to see one in real life. And actually, Lala has privately messaged us outside of YouTube pictures of real
videos and stuff.
real
well,
moose videos and pics. Because she's in Alaska, right?
It's
so
amazing.
they see him.
So
that's their shared interest.
Yeah, and then I became Moose Mike.
She started calling him Moose Mike, and it kind of stuck.
And it stuck because
and
I
Mike
said something
it.
like "Stay Moosey."
Yeah.
And now I'm Moose Mike.
So there you go. That's where the moose comes from, but that wasn't his original name.
No.
Okay, now this is pretty long, in-depth question with several parts.
Okay.
So, but we have these and just a few more. So, the lovely Kim from Yarning for a Smile. Let's do the bits as they come up. What inspires the both of you in your crafts?
Colour. It's colour for me because all the projects I'm doing are for people, and colour is the main aspect because it's their favourite colour.
Could have said me. Rude. Anyway, I knew he wouldn't. I'm fairly similar to Mike. I said in a previous answer to a previous question that my favourite item to crochet is things that I am making for other people. So putting elements of them is what inspires me a little bit in my crafting. So like my favourite colour, maybe it's a favourite animal, maybe it's a favourite stitch, maybe it's a favourite yarn. Whatever the case may be, to make it personal to them, that is the inspiration when it's a gift for someone. When it's general crafting, when it's just what I want to make, it's normally either something that I've seen one of you guys on here showcase and I'm like, oh, I want one, I need one, I want to make one. Or it is, I might have heard a technique that I've not tried and gone, I want to try that out. Or I just want to make lots of pretty things. So if I'm looking through patterns like through Ravelry or Etsy or Pinterest or a book that I've got on my shelf, or I'm watching you guys on YouTube, I try and pull some inspiration with all the wonderful things that you're doing and all the wonderful resources we've got available to us. And I try and get some inspiration on what do I want to make. So I don't know if that really answers it. Inspiration can come from a lot of different places. But yeah, that's kind of how we do, I think. That's how we do it. The next part is what inspires you in each other. This is going to make Mike very on the spot and uncomfortable. You can see it already.
Ah, what a question.
Yeah.
What inspired?
Kim has dug deep.
Yeah, clearly.
Are you crying?
No, I'm just tired.
Okay. What is inspirational about me?
Inspirational. That's a very difficult word to to fathom, but I suppose what within the crochet world, because I'm not going to go into anything else.
Why not? You can go into whatever you want.
Why did you do that?
Because I can. I am a little bit of a cheeky monkey.
So, in the crochet world, the inspiration from Sam is the determination to do it all.
Or at least try to.
Yeah. In the real world, the determination is another thing as well, but I suppose the amount of love that comes out of you is inspirational.
Okay.
Because it's a hell of a lot more than most. Including myself.
Don't give the people the wrong impression that I've got a really big heart and I'm a big mush.
You have got
underneath.
a really big heart.
Don't blow my cover. I'm only teasing.
So yeah, there you go.
Okay,
on the spot,
so
went red for a bit.
And there's probably a lot more than that, but
there is, but yeah, on the spot.
Even off camera, as a couple behind the scenes, Mike struggles with opening up, discussing feelings, the personal side of it, and that is not a criticism again. It's just something that doesn't flow or come natural to Mike. He is very much let's crack on, let's do it, let's, just fix the problem. Let's not discuss the problem to within an inch of its life and get all emotional about it. Let's just get rid of it, move on. And that doesn't mean he's cold, doesn't mean that he doesn't care. It's just it doesn't come naturally for Mike to be. I'm the wordy one. Shocker, right? Who knew? You all did. For me, what inspires me about Mike...
No, this is the hard one.
There is a lot that I admire in Mike, which is something completely different to inspiration. Kim didn't ask for the admire, she asked for the inspiration. So I am not going to go into very many details because A, I don't want Mike to feel even more awkward than he already does, and B, it is not my story to tell, and it is probably a story that is never going to be told here on our channel. So just briefly, Mike is my inspiration because no matter how low and far down you can be in life sometimes, if you have the fight and the strength and the energy to get back up to the top and be where you need to be, nobody has any excuse not to keep going. Mike knows what I'm talking about. That is a bit cryptic to you guys, but there has been a lot of times in Mike's life where he has really had to fight his way up from rock bottom. Literally had nothing or no one. And the fact that he is here sat with me today on this channel answering these questions and doing all the things in life that he is currently doing is a massive inspiration to me, because in comparison, I've never been where Mike is, and I hope to never be where Mike has been. I've been very lucky that my life was completely different. But when I'm having a low moment, when I think I'm at rock bottom, and I do that because it's really not going to be rock bottom in comparison, I just need to give myself a kick up the butt and realise that there is a lot worse out there, worse circumstances to be in. It really ain't all that bad. Give your head a wobble, crack on. So that is what is inspiring about Mike. But Mike has also told me that I am stronger than I give myself credit for also. So we kind of bounce off each other in that respect, but in different ways. So I find Mike inspiring because, by all rights, Mike shouldn't even be here today. Just saying. But he is, thankfully. And we're going to leave it there. Kim, did you expect that?
No.
Anyway, so and please no probing questions about what I'm hinting at or what I'm going on about, because it is not going to be discussed unless Mike chooses to at whatever point, and if he never does, that is the end of it and it needs to be left there. Mike's life, Mike's story. Please no probing questions. Let's just leave it at that. And then this is like a two-parter and it's still from Kim. How do you use the things that inspire your crafty life to carry over in your lives as parents?
Don't even ask me that question. It's just not. I can't fathom that. I don't. My crafty life is so small.
And you do keep it separate. That is
And
like
I
your
keep it separate.
little. That's your little bit for me.
Yeah.
Like together.
Yeah,
It's
no,
not really.
Doesn't go into any parenting. For me, my parenting would be my hobbies, like my golfing. I take him golf, or
Yeah.
I take him out into the woods, or
But that's not craft.
no.
His little girl loves arts and crafts and would love to do more of it. It's fair to say that Daddy doesn't have the patience for the gluing, the sticking, do you know what I mean? Like paper crafts and gluing, and that is not Mike's bag, and it's just not worth it. So it doesn't happen. When we were in lockdown because of the pandemic, I did teach my middle boy how to crochet. So I suppose my craft did kind of carry over into my life as a parent. That was something that me and my middle son enjoyed and bonded over for a little section of time in the pandemic there. Occasionally he'll pick it up from time to time, but it's not a massive obsession like it is for me. I will sit and do some arts and crafts with Mike's little girl and with the others if they wish to, but for my middle boy it is more Lego building, and now he has got to the stage where he doesn't need mummy's help, so I am redundant in the Lego building world now. My youngest isn't really an arts and crafts kind of kid at all, so he has no interest, although he is starting to take an interest in baking and cooking. So we are trying to encourage that when he feels the need or want to do that and we have the time. My eldest, he's really not into the crafting,
No.
even baking or cooking. He's a gamer through and through.
He's a me.
He's a, yeah. So I do try and implement some of my crafty life in my parenting, but it is not a core thing for us as a family. It is more of a Mike and I thing and an occasional kiddie activity thrown in here and there.
If we're looking at yarn craft as well, because Kaylee has got yarn, but she was taught by my nan to knit, so she knits, and I have no clue how to knit. I barely have a clue how to crochet, so
I know the basics in knitting, and I can help her. I can help her cast on. I can help her get to a point of where she needs to be with the basics, because she only knows the basics as well herself. It's very much just knit.
She's not more of a reader. She loves reading. Yeah,
but I do try and encourage colour. Colour is a big part of crafting. I mean, our house is very brightly coloured. The aesthetic of our home is quite bright and cheerful and happy. I do try and encourage the kids to maybe dress in brighter colours. Your little girl goes way OTT with colour and pattern, and I actually have to
rein her in
and dull it down a bit. So I don't know. Sometimes it crosses over, but for the most part, we're not really a massively crafty family. Although when my boys were small and I was a stay-at-home mum, we did do all the modelling clay, the painting, the glitter, the making birthday cards and Christmas cards and Mother's Day cards and Father's Day cards and cooking all the time with them. I was the crafty homemaker mum when I was able to be a stay-at-home mum and do that when they were really small. But then the older they've got, the more they've pulled away and found their own interests and their own identities, and I've had to go to work anyway, so yeah, it's kind of disbanded a little bit. well, then I've kind of answered the last bit, which is, do you try to cultivate a love of craftiness in your kiddos? I encourage whatever it is that they are interested in, and they either want me to be a part of or they want me to look at after. We are very positive and encouraging with that. So again, my middle one, I said about the Lego building, but actually he likes his drawing, and he's just recently got into watercolours as well. Now, he's not doing it properly. He's watching a few YouTubey things and imitating and just starting to feel his way. He showed me a couple of things that he did the other night, and actually I was super impressed, really, really loved, and I am actually going to ask him if I can put it in a frame. So I do try and cultivate a love of craftiness, but on their terms, what they want to do, what they want to craft, what they want to make. I don't push my preferences on them. And then if they're trying to get me involved in a craft that I'm not really digging or feeling, I will make the effort for them, but I make it very clear that I'm spending the time with them because it's what they want to do, but it's not going to be something that mummy wants to do every day, because it's not enjoyable doing something every day that you don't particularly enjoy. So hope that answers your questions, Kim. But now I'm a little bit bamboozled, so who knows? Okay, Mad Mimi's crochet and farming animals. Does it snow where you are? Not really.
Not really. It has snowed
On occasion,
and we
once in a blue moon.
Occasionally we get what we call a bad
downpour,
dumping,
which you would laugh at,
which
and
you
think
would laugh
is
at, to be fair, yeah.
very small dusting that is insignificant.
Yeah, and when it happens here, because it doesn't happen very often, the whole place just
the country
grinds
just
to a halt.
Grinds to a halt. We are not equipped to deal with snow here, so when it does happen, it goes to rack and ruin.
The
basically.
further up you go, like Scotland, they are equipped for it because they get it
for it, yeah.
a lot more often. But down here
Down
in the
here,
south,
no. And it's the higher ground. The higher ground will always get snow before we do, and especially where we are right now, we are on the side of a hill, so it's very, very unlikely to get snow to land here because we're right by a river at the bottom.
A tidal river as well,
yeah,
so it's salty.
So very rarely, but yes, it has happened. But if we want to find it, we go up to the higher ground and seek it out. So no, not really, Lala. You get everybody's
Your
snow. You do.
Is unreal.
Yeah, you get everybody in the world's snow. Lisa Knits has asked 2 questions. One of which, Lisa, I feel that we've already answered, which is what yarn do you prefer to use? But I am going to add a little something to that. My favourite fibre to use is acrylic, and then it's cotton, and then it's the blends.
And I've only ever used acrylic,
so we just tweaked that one a little bit because we've talked about brands and okay, so let's add on to that a little bit more. Favourite weight of yarn?
DK.
Lightweight 3 for Mike. Mine is a 3 or a 4, but if I had to pick, it would be a 3, a DK. I've always been a DK girl.
It's the only ones I've used. I've never used anything else. So.
I haven't really used the chunkies and the super chunkies. It doesn't appeal to me. For me, that is not my bag at all. I have used a few 2 weights, but I need to have a bit more experience in that to know how I really feel about it. And below a 2, I haven't gone there yet. Most of my crochet has been a 3 weight or a 4 weight. That is my comfort zone, but out of the 2, I would always pick DK. So that, along with the brands, I feel has answered that question probably in its entirety. And the other question she asks is, what is your favourite stitch?
So
now it can be a basic stitch or it can be a complex stitch. I do.
Stitch is.
Yeah, it's the double.
Double crochet.
Double crochet. Mine's the half double if we're talking about basic stitches. Love it. Yarn over once and all through 3.
I don't mind trebles as well, and unfinished trebles. I don't mind doing that.
That's because you're doing a lot of them in this rack.
I'm doing a lot of them in this rack, but I don't. They work up pretty quick.
To be perfectly honest with you guys, I like any stitch because whatever stitch is needed will make the pretty thing. So I am happy to do whatever stitch is necessary. But number 1 would be half double, number 2 would be double, number 3 would be single, and then if we're talking about complex stitches, to be honest, I don't think I found a complex stitch that I really love. I hate bobbles, I hate popcorns.
Picos are a nightmare.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of Pico, but that's more of an edging thing.
It's nothing major. I
We'll just
hate
stick. We'll
the bead stitch.
We'll just stick with the basic stitches. For Mike, it's the double crochet, and we are talking US terminology.
Yes.
And mine is the half double, closely followed by the double. But I've got to love me singles because that's what makes me amigurumis. So
I'm not keen on singles.
which means amigurumi might be a problem for Mike. We
Yeah.
haven't actually figured that out yet, so stay tuned.
Yeah.
Okay, nearly there, Mike, which is good because I really need a comfort break. YarnyCat_crochet, my beautiful Patricia, asked, have you ever found any Roman pottery shards or coins in your backyard?
No.
No, Patricia. She said in her comment that she watches a lot of Time Team and that it happens quite a lot here because we had a lot of we were invaded and they conquered and they settled. Totally understand where you're coming from, and yes, I suppose compared
if we dig deep enough, we probably could.
Compared to you guys across the pond, that is going to be a more common thing that occurs. But you can't just go in a generic backyard, dig around a little bit and find those things. It is not as common as you may think. Although, point of interest, right at the top of the hill that we live on is a Roman church, or used to be a Roman church before, they built on top of it. They have literally, I think they had the Time Team
it may have been
in.
yeah.
And they were doing an excavation and a dig there because they wanted to see what they could find in the old battlements and the old, Roman fortress or whatever it was up there. Have I seen the programme about it? No. Do I know what they found? No. I have found pottery and stuff in the garden, but no way was it Roman. It was somebody's broken dish that they dropped in the garden 20 years ago, and it just happened to be unearthed by me.
I think where we live, in the area we live, if we were to dig in a spot and we went deep enough, we would find something.
Probably. There is a lot more waiting to be discovered that not a lot of people are, because our backyards aren't that big, to be fair,
compared to
what some others out in the world get. So we're not going to be using the little diggers and like the pneumatic things to drill down deep enough because we have no need to. We're not going to be laying foundations for anything, certainly are not going to be putting extensions on our house because we don't have the money, and we don't own it either. So there is loads out there to be found, and if you dig deep enough, then yes, there probably is some in my garden. Am I going to go looking for it though?
No.
So
we could set Max on a task.
We could, and Max would love it.
He'll
that is
that
well up
long.
Max's street, and he would just go down to the point where it would probably collapse on top of him, and he'd be in a dangerous situation. That kid, that is right up his street. I understand where that question has come from, and yes, we are more likely to, but no, we haven't, and we're not going to go looking either. So I hope that answers your question. And last but not least is the beautiful Christina from Bella Uncinetto, who asks, what do you love to do most in the world? Sleep. And I don't get to do it very often.
So
it's nearly an hour and I really need a comfort break.
I don't really know. I mean, at the moment my interests are, like on the YouTube streets, are survival camping. I don't actually do it. I haven't yet.
What do you love to do most in the world?
I do want to do that, but at the moment it would be driving.
Yeah, it's got to be relevant to the here and now. And we both love watching our YouTube channels. That is something that we do invest in every day because it's the only way we can keep in touch with what you guys are up to, what is new in the crochet world and what everyone's raving about and all the new yarns and whatever. So that is what I love to watch your guys' videos, and that is a genuine, truthful answer. Do love my sleep, and I don't get a lot of it. But I think out of all of that, being with the ones I love, and I know that's really mushy and really sloppy, but it's true, because if we don't make the most of the people that we love while we've got them, regrets it's too late. When you've got regrets and you didn't do it, it's too late. So do it now. Do it in the here and now. And that's why I always say get some good quality time with your loved ones, because there will come a point where you don't have them and you wish you did and you wish you had done more. So there is meaning behind that part of our outro, guys. And I try and spend as much time with the ones I love as often as I can. But even the guys in my actual family probably don't see me as often as they would like to, because life gets in the way. Work, school runs, adulting. We never have enough time to do what we love. But when we can, we should try, which in a way links us beautifully into our outro. But just before we go into our outro, everyone that has got a content channel who asked a question will be in the description box. Check them out. Thank you so much for taking the time to ask us these questions. I hope our answers have been okay enough for you. Some of it might have been too much information. And if you would like us to do these like every 6 months or so, then we are more than happy to do that. Just let us know. And let us know your thoughts down in the comments. We always love to read what you've got to say. So thank you all so very much for spending over an hour of your time with us. I told you it was going to be a long one. But yeah, like I was saying about we don't always have time to do what we love, and we need to. Let's go into the outro because that has some of that in it as well. So until we see you tomorrow,
stay safe,
be kind,
look after one another,
get some good quality time in with your loved ones,
get some good quality crafting time in.
We will see you in the next one.
Or around the YouTube streets.
Bye guys. Love ya.
Bye.
See you soon.